some people I know are going to be annoyed and say, well, Swearinger needs to make plays, that he's missing tackles, he's in great coverage. I saw Charlie Casserly had a pretty brutal takedown of DJ Swearinger's play on the field, but I'm more interested in the content, because some of the content coming from Swearinger is, and you can say he says stuff every week, and part of me does agree with that, but the content is the coaches aren't putting us in the best positions, and he talks also about preparation. Here's what Swearinger said about his thoughts on Jay Gruden, because a lot of it, and this is what we wonder, we hear Russell always call it Club J, a lot of it is they practice harder elsewhere. Here's Swearinger.
Jay is he's a player's coach, and that can, it can go one or two ways. It can go, at the players level, we want to play for you, or it can go to like, man, we're not getting enough work, and if we are doing the things that we do, the mediocre wise or practicing light, then certain things like the playoffs, just not going to happen.
Practicing light.
Well, I mean, as Chris has even said, we've heard some bites in recent weeks. I've kind of made light of it in my 5 o'clock hour sportscast. Hey, you hear the ping pong table in the background there? You can hear the guys playing
ping pong's fun. I played yesterday on Christmas Day. It's fun. It's a fun game.
Here's the thing. I mean, look, obviously Fabian Moreau had been playing slot. Now he's out on the outside due to, Dunbar's injury and other situations that have gone on in the secondary. It comes down, and this is the way Grant and I talked about it and hypothesized the other day. Two things. Coaching staff didn't trust the players in a situation like that for that particular coverage. Look, I don't care what quarterback you're playing against. I don't care if he's a backup or what. Blaine Gabbert's a veteran backup, so it's not his first rodeo. You play zone coverage against a team, somebody's going to find 5 yards and sit down and complete a pass against zone coverage. I mean, that's entirely possible.
But I thought Swearinger wanted more zone coverage.
He did. That's what he was calling for.
Right.
So Manusky wanted to go man and played man in that situation. So
where you're challenging the receivers more.
You're challenging the receivers to get open and
but in the NFL, even even the guys who aren't big name receivers get open and
any good passing game is going to find a hole in zone. The question is, my biggest pet peeve about pro football offenses is you look at a lot of 1 and 2 yard routes now. You're hoping maybe in that situation Tennessee calls something like that and you can make a tackle in front of somebody. But the bigger question is that Grant and I talked about, can Jay Gruden move on from Greg Manusky right now, even if he wanted to?
I think he can, since he waxed Swearinger. I agree with that assessment. I heard somebody else point that out, that if he wanted to move on from Manusky beforehand, and I'm sure there was some pressure to do that, Swearinger put him in a bind, because
no question.
If you keep Swearinger around, all of a sudden
looks like DJ wins.
Right, people are going to wonder, a player called him out.
But at what point do we also look at it? Is it really Greg Manusky's fault when you lose the wide receiver converted to defensive back in Dunbar? You obviously
They've been mostly healthy.
But you bring in. But that's not my point though. You bring in HaHa Clinton-Dix, who doesn't fit the system per se. You have linebackers that have not played to their level. When you have a front four, especially those two interior guys, Payne and Jonathan Allen, with the way they have played, there is absolutely no excuse for Mason Foster and Zach Brown to have underachieved the way they have at times this year, based on what you believe from the coaching staff by benching Brown for Sean Dion Hamilton at this point. When you have two studs on the defensive line, there's no way your linebackers should underachieve. So is it the performance of the Jimmies and Joes as opposed to the defensive coordinator on the sideline?
It's always more the performance of the Jimmy and Joes than the coach.
So why should Manusky take the hit because the people can't necessarily execute what should be a positive game plan?
Because they're always has to be a
fall guy.
Now it depends. Look, there's going to be a difference of opinion here. First of all, I think Jay should go. That's my own personal opinion.
Well, I think there are other people. Here we are again, JP. We're at the exact same situation. 7-8, 7-8-1, 8-8. We keep getting to that level. What's missing?
It's not acceptable.
What's the missing piece that keeps them right now from getting to 9, 10, or 11 in a year where the East has been terrible?
What I was going to say is Jay screams, and so does Greg Manusky. So if Jay's going to stay and you just have to make a decision on the defensive coordinator, I would move on from mediocre because that's what they've been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of the things that Swearinger said are probably accurate about the way that they practice as a team and about the preparation.
That's clearly obvious at this point because so many people have said the same thing.
The communication is bad.
But again,
and then I know that there are some Redskins fans, and we'll take some calls here in a second at 800-636-1067. My daughter, she's been a Redskins fan for 18 years. I apologize to her for her becoming a Redskins fan. But she said, why would they cut DJ Swearinger? He's their best safety.
That's true.
That's an
guy's
argument.
a Pro Bowl alternate. Certainly
Right.
Others have looked at his play this year.
The Redskins are very
the right
forgiving
thing.
to some people on the roster for some of their transgressions.
Mm-hmm.
But God forbid you speak out against the coaches. Now, apparently that's
like that in any sport.
That's
though,
a
for the most
cardinal
part.
sin and will get you released, at least with the
The
Washington
thing that
Redskins.
struck me, and I got to go because I got to go do news on another station. The one thing that struck me, though, and I asked DJ this question, who was involved in the meeting? Usually when this happens, you get a GM, maybe even an owner, coach, whatever. It was strictly Jay.
Him and Jay.
Jay and DJ.
And Jay didn't even really give much rationale. He just said, we're going to let you go.
Let's go. Got to go.
That's the way it is. Time to move on. Thank you,
Like me.
Pete.